Greetings and welcome to another Diablo 4 video. Today I want to show you the triple imbuement flurry rogue. It's basically a continuation of the dual imbuement flurry rogue that I've already shown, so I'm trying to constantly refine it. It's a world tier 4 build, like level 70 plus. You can play this earlier. There's like some stuff that just makes it better, just more fluid, and we will go over this quickly, I guess. Let's see how long this video takes. Just the normal uniques, I will just glance over that, and so you can stop the video there if you want. And then we have, sorry, the normal legendaries, I mean. And then we have the uniques, like this one is pretty nice because it shields everybody around me, so it gives a crowd control already, which synergizes with some of my damage bonuses. It's nice. It's not mandatory, but it's nice, especially crowd control from our key passive, or let's say plus damage to crowd control from our key passive 20%. So that's pretty nice to have already a crowd control automatically on close enemies. Other than that, there's nothing really big here on the other jewelry here to talk about. Just going over it. And these uniques are really good for this build. We have two daggers because they have inherently damage to close enemies, and basically everything we damage is close, maybe aside from some shadow imbuement explosion far away, but basically everything is close. So it's better than swords because swords have critical strike damage, as you can see here, like plus 24.5 in this case have inherently critical strike damage, which is just strictly worse because we have to critically strike first to get that effect, and damage to close enemies is just always present for us. So we have Ashira's Kanja, which also gives us a lot of basic skill damage, which is not really important. I would want to roll this off, but of course we can't on uniques. Then a poor roll on damage to crowd control enemies, and then again we have crowd control like all the time up to close enemies. Then we get some movement speed of a killing lead, which is nice, and some lucky hit chance. So the affixes here are not super great. So probably if I find a better dagger or like around that item level with that damage and better affixes, I would change this. But for now, this is pretty cool because it also gives me attack speed that stacks up to 25% in this case. So since we're hitting a lot anyways, building combo points, this is not bad at all. But there might be better options down the road. And then combination, this one also has basic skill attack speed, which is okay for building combo points. Not the best, but I'll take it. Critical strike chance against injured enemies, okay. Damage with the dual wield weapons is nice. Core skill damage is nice. And my core skills deal 20% multiplier. Increased damage, it can roll up to 40, so this is a pretty poor anti-perfect roll. And then sometimes I have immediately 3 combo points, but I'm not really seeing that because it's down here and I'm just like trying to build 3 anyways. But the extra damage cost is nice. And we need better roll here, definitely. Still, the damage is pretty good. So these are right now my best options, I would say. I had 2 swords or 1 sword in this one before. So that's what we go with. So a quick look at the enhanced stats here. As you can see, we have different let's say buckets of damage. With damage with basic, which is not that important, but damage with core, 123%, damage imbued. So if I imbue my core skill, there's another 140%. Then we have damage versus injured. Oh, sorry, damage versus close. So I'm gonna say also around 100 almost. Versus chilled. Again, we chill all the time, so this is great. Vulnerable damage only 80. This could be higher. For now, we have this inherently 60%. Gonna try to reroll something of this, like damage to poison enemies, which is okay. I mean, we are using poison imbuement, so this will still get used, but overall, I'd rather have like damage versus. I don't know what it can roll actually. but maybe it can roll something more beneficial to us. So these are the different damage buckets that we use. And this is all enhanced. Of course, we have specialization combo points and abilities, imbuements that we're using. Starting from the top, of course, puncture to get the vulnerable. I tried puncture with 5 points to have more damage because we're always using puncture, but it's just such a poor damage. There are dedicated Paragon nodes that give you more basic skill damage, but it's not a multiplier, so I don't know if you can really pump this up and if it's even worth it. I'd say no, even though we're using a lot of this, but we're using just 3 in quick succession and then the core skill. So core skill with 3 points is almost 20k damage, like without any other multipliers like vulnerable, etc. So this is pretty great, and of course sturdy and siphoning strikes for sustain. Shadow Step and Enhance. And I recently swapped from Methodical to Disciplined, which gives me more mobility in the dungeon from pack to pack. But it gives me less stun or less stagger against bosses, for example, because this is a huge stagger here, but bosses are not really a problem. They're like more a nuisance, but they're not hard to beat. But if you have problems against bosses, maybe switch to Methodical. Just toy around what feels better. And then what I really like is Agile. I feel like this brings a lot because we're using cooldowns all the time, and we get 12% flat dodge chance for 3 seconds, which is just amazing. So I really recommend this one if you're using like cooldowns all the time. Then some points left over. I had 2 in Exploit and 2 in Malice. I'm not really sure how I value these because I don't know when vulnerable here gets actually added. Let's see, we have vulnerable damage 80% here. And if I add 1 more point, we still have 80. So I don't know if this is after the fact, that's another multiplier or not. So I'm not sure how this works. If I have points left over and more to that later, then of course I would anyways put something here because I think it's still valuable, and we put vulnerable all the time because of improved flurry. But moving down, maxed out shadow imbuement, enhanced and mixed shadow imbuement, along with poison imbuement, where I put the rest of my points with enhanced and blended. 3 in precision imbuement for more critical strike chance, and 1 into cold. We don't really need more here, just the chill amount goes up, but if you use cold imbuement, they already are like frozen. So it works out, and I don't really like to spend down here. This one is valuable because you do 20% multiplier damage to crowd control enemies with your cold imbued skill. But this is just such a waste because on lucky hit, I have a chance to make enemies vulnerable, but I always make vulnerable with improved flurry anyways. So this point just feels like a waste and so bad to reach this. I don't think it's worth it, but I'm going back and forth on this actually, so not sure. Let me know in the comments, please, what your insights are, what you have tested out, what's your opinion on these passives. Because here also, if you have the lucky hit chains here, and I'm not sure on lucky hit also. Right now I have Shadow Crash, I'm trying around with this. I don't really think I need it because everything dies so fast. It's hard to see if they get stunned regularly, actually, because they also get frozen. So probably I will remove this, and then not sure on these either because then I don't really need much lucky hit chance. The only other lucky hit thing I have is this one, which gives me increased critical strike chance on a lucky hit if I make them vulnerable. So vulnerable happens pretty often, as I said, but I don't see this buff coming up very often. And we have 15.9 lucky hit chance here also, so I'm not sure about it. Seems not great. Maybe I pick up something else with lucky hit and then it's worth it. Getting the energy here is okay. Usually I don't have energy problems, but sometimes against bosses I'm a bit energy starved because puncture gives me energy, when I damage a crowd control enemy, but the bosses are not crowd control unless they're fully staggered. So against bosses, this is a bit of a pain, but it works out okay. And of course, I choose close quarters combat because it feels really nice to have the attack speed, and since we're crowd controlling a lot, the damage is very welcome. But you could also go momentum because we're also freezing and we're also stunning. We should probably go to methodical shadow step then to stun more. I'm not a fan, and close quarters combat actually has a legendary aspect that I don't have right now, which is, if I recall correctly, that you get dodge chance when this is up, and this is always up. So I actually want this legendary aspect if I can find it. And then quickly going over Paragon, I need to refine it more, but basically I have Frost Feeder for more damage against chilled enemies. Again, we are chilling all the time. And then I have Turf to get damage reduction against close enemies and get more damage against close enemies, along with some core skill damage here and some armor here. And then we have this legendary note where imbued skills give me resistances and increased damage, which is pretty nice. But resistances are not great at the moment. I guess they will be fixed in Season 2 as per the latest update from Blizzard, but it's still okay to use this, and also we get increased damage. And infusion, and here we are with like using triple imbuements and the benefit of it, because if I cast an imbuement skill, it uses the active cooldown of another imbuement skill by 0.5 seconds. I hope they buff this a little bit, like maybe 0.7 seconds, because right now it is not very tangible. I mean, it's there, and sometimes it works out that you have like always have imbuements up, but sometimes it doesn't. But still, overall, this is pretty cool. Actually, I like it. It encourages you to use more imbuements. And yeah, here a little bit of core skill and basic skill damage, nothing like too crazy. And then I need to see where else I'm going here, but I will update you on that. All right, so we talked about, like, again, 12 minutes about the build, basically. We can do like a tier 25 here, just to show you the power of this build right now. And this, I sometimes like to get, I mean, you have so many elixirs, I just take one. Sometimes that gives me a little bit of resistance against the particular affixes, but you can just like use something that increases your lucky hit, for example. There's something that gives you a lot of armor, which is probably better than the resistance here. And what else? Critical strike chance and dodge. There's something with dodge that is very nice. Let's use the armor one for now and see where we need to go. Oh, this is nice. It's pretty close. Because some of these nightmare dungeons are very far away, actually, and you have to walk a lot. Since we have a lot of movement speed, I actually almost all the time not using the mount. Upsala. Because yeah, it's sometimes a hassle, and then there's like barricades and everything, and like this I can just use shadow step. I can use my dodge, which gives me also more movement speed. We're actually pretty fast without the quirks that the mount has. And there we are. So I like to start with cold imbuement just to get the freeze on the enemies, so they don't get as much damage. Oops, why is my transmog removed? I don't know. I think if you unequip it and equip it again, it's removed. Anyways. So cold imbuement I select to start, and then do either shadow imbuement if there's a lot of monsters, or poison if there's like more elites. Because poison does more damage, and shadow imbuement does more when the monsters actually died. Aye. So another tip, which I just didn't do right now, is you can save your Shadow Step to get out of stuns. Because Shadow Step not only gives you unstoppable, it also gets you out of these stuns. So that's pretty cool. But I also, because I'm lazy and I like it, I just use it to engage. And I know there's a legendary aspect that gives me another charge of Shadow Step, which would come in handy. It kind of contradicts a little bit the enhancement that I choose, because the enhancement says I have reduced cooldown if I'm not attacking the same target twice with Shadow Step in 4 seconds. So I'm not doing that right now because, yeah, the cooldown is too high anyway. So I don't know why the cooldown just reset. Oh, I have the line. Right? Yeah. So 5 seconds cooldown. So if I don't hit the target again in 4 seconds, then I'm good with the reduced cooldown. So I don't know if I want to get that legendary aspect. That what am I doing? Talking and playing is, you can see, not going great. The legendary aspect that gives me 2 charges of Shadow Step might be pretty nice, but I really don't have like a slot for it, if I'm honest, since on my boots it's a unique which I cannot change, and I don't want to change. And not really many flex spots right now in the gear. I am toying around here and there. I recently added this one, where attacking enemies with basic skill increases my core skill damage, which makes sense because I'm attacking 3 times anyways. The great mechanical boxes. I'm kind of getting used to having only 1 evade. Kinda. I'm trying to move more. Yeah, reading these guys with increased health are so annoying. I don't know why they're so hard to kill. Reading the battlefield and the enemies, their affixes, still something that I have to get used to. Yeah. It's a bit of an issue with controller. It always tries to pick up something and not attacking. I need to change that priority system. As you can see, like, we don't really have problems. I mean, if you're careful enough not standing in something, if you're alert, then this is really not an issue here. That's so cool. Already the boss? Wow. As you can see, we are a bit energy starved here, but it is okay. Sometimes the fights are a bit long. This was a very quick dungeon. Damn. Good for the video though. Sometimes the fights against boss are a bit longer and then we get energy starved. So here I kind of want to upgrade either Infusion or Turf to level 15. Maybe I should just focus on one, I'm not sure. Let's do Infusion then. And yeah, that's it. That's the build. I hope you liked it. I'm again trying to refine it more and more. Thinking about these lucky hit stuffs. Not really fond of it, but right now I really don't have any problems. Like, these are, for me, it seems like minor changes, like putting some points away here, putting like one here, one here. It seems like really slim and minor upgrades. But again, in the end, or in the even upper and higher levels, this could matter. So I'm just using this time leveling up and refining the build more and keep you guys updated. I hope you like that, and I'll see you guys in the next time, in the next video. Good luck, have fun, and goodbye.